the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. A new hero will emerge. One who is ready. One who makes sure their friends and family are set. And has the power to go at a moment's notice. This fire season, you're the hero. We are Ready Nevada County.
Nevada County has a new tool to make evacuations safer and more efficient in the event of an emergency. This new tool is called Zone Haven, and we need you to know your zone.
In order to know your zone, you need to go to community.zonehaven.com, type in your address. Once your address populates in the pop-up window, take that information and write down the zone that is given to you where you know you'll find it in case of emergency.
Zone Haven and knowing your zone does not replace Nixle and/or Code Red. It actually supplements them, and it makes those tools more powerful because you'll know what zones are being evacuated or which ones are being placed on advisory. And as a result, you won't have to do anything else other than listen to those messages and know if it's time to go.
Even if you don't have internet, this could be done by word of mouth, it can be done by radio, or it could be us driving down the street, so please know your zone.
From Truckee to Lake of the Pines, from Chicago Park to Spenceville. Every single square mile of Nevada County has a zone. And having a zone that you know for your neighborhood is going to help you save time to be able to evacuate and keep you and your family safe.
Ready Nevada County is an education campaign designed to help the public have successful outcomes during emergency events. We really focus on a whole host of disasters or emergency events. We want to have a broad spectrum. We want to be prepared for anything, but really we focus a lot on wildfire because we know that's one of the most likely events to happen in Nevada County.
Ready, Set, Go is really built around the wildfire premise to prepare residents to be ready before an event, to move into the set posture when there's a red flag or a fire is near you, and then to go when it's time to go.
Essentially, in its simplest form, it's a three-tiered community emergency preparedness plan.
I have lived in this house, which we built, my husband and I, 26 years ago now, actually. We selected the hardy plank, the concrete siding, and also the metal roof. Then when we moved up here and heard about the 49er fire, that's when we started to say, wow, this really is even more important than we first realized.
So the 49er fire is one of the most historic fires in Nevada County's history. They figured it changed the laws of the state of California that said this is how you have to protect your home. That came out of Nevada County.
Steve Eubanks came from the Fire Safe Council, and the main thing we needed to pay attention to was the ladder fuels. Planting has been removed from the edges of the house so that it does not touch the house. It was an incredible service from the Fire Safe Council to come out and spend a couple of hours going through this property
So the ready phase is when there's no immediate threat to you and your family. This is the time when you should be doing education and planning, whether that be training, educating yourself, or accumulating equipment, hardening your home, creating defensible space.
Defensible space is really all about creating a buffer zone between your house and flammable vegetation.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Calling our September 9th Board of Supervisors meeting to order. And Captain Scales, would you lead us in the pledge? Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any corrections or deletions to the agenda?
None that I'm aware of, Chair.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll go right into the consent calendar. These items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. The board will act upon them at one time without discussion, and any board member may request that an item be removed for discussion. So the items this morning on the consent calendar are 1 through 17. I want to remind the public to call in if they're going to be providing comments over the phone. And we're open for public comment on the consent calendar. Seeing no comment in chambers, are there any callers?
There's no callers on the phone, Chair.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Do any board members want to pull any items? Sue, Lisa? Okay, none. So now I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes, thank you so much. And we're going to go into general public comment, again reminding the public to call in if they want to provide comments over the phone. So members of the public shall be allowed to address the board on items not appearing on today's agenda that are of interest to the public and within the subject matter of the board. Speakers are encouraged but not required to give their name and district of residence. Please direct your comments to the board, not the audience or staff. No individual may speak more than once, and we give each speaker 3 minutes, at which point the microphone will generally be turned off. So let's open public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, come on down to the microphone.
Like to speak to is one, a thank you, and a second, encouragement to attend the 2025 Economic Summit coming up on September 25th. And a thank you to the county for supporting that, allowing us to bring in Dr. Young from Washington, D.C., who will be the keynote speaker. Also, Chair Hall, you will be on the dais speaking about economic development from the county perspective, along with the other jurisdictions. So, and then we will have a short 10-minute presentation by Dr. Neely. If you were at the summit last year and you heard his conversation about healthy communities, that project is going forward very strongly, and he is going to give us a 10-minute update on that and how that project is going. So again, thank you very much. I encourage you to attend on September 25th, the Economic Summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Gil.
Good morning, Chair and Supervisors. My name is Catherine Thompson. I'm president of Sierra Express Bicycle Club of Nevada County. We are largely recreational cyclists with 150 members. I'm also a bicycle commuter. I am here to bring to your attention the county's transportation update of the Regional Transportation Plan by NCTC, the Nevada County Transportation Commission. The plan is being updated through 2025. This plan includes the cities of Grass Valley, Nevada City, and the town of Truckee. Public comment ends September 25th. I am here because we believe the plan needs to be focused on cycling as a form of transportation. The County Transportation Commission solicited public input before it updated the plan. Please note that fully half of the public comments in the draft plan address the need for safer cycling. Also, our booths at the County Recreation Fair and Earth Fest found many people want a town-to-town bike routes. Although the need for town-to-town protected bikeways between communities has been identified as an important need by the public, in public input, we wonder why they're not part of the plan. The plan includes millions of funding from the state's active transportation program. The purpose of this program is to encourage increased use of active modes of transportation, which means walking and biking. Under the county plan, priority funding is going to roundabouts. While roundabouts are great for motor vehicles, they really aren't great for cycling and walking. The list of county active transportation projects, which means bicycling and pedestrian projects, has not been updated since 2019 and does not reflect the public's desire and need for safe, protected bikeways between communities, schools, and other places, as stated in all the public comments. By the way, there were 245, I believe, public comments. According to local retailers, also the number of bicycles and e-bikes being sold has skyrocketed, especially in the last few years. This is not recognized in the planning document. The county's analysis showed the vast majority of trips were within Truckee, starting and ending in Truckee, 33,000, and Grass Valley, about 30,000. About 40% of the trips were under 15 minutes, which means they were short. We urge the county to reflect cycling and walking as legitimate and viable means of transportation to school, work, shopping, and other places. The public has spoken about its need for safe cycling routes, and the draft plan needs to be changed to reflect that and to encourage visitors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine.
Michael Taylor, District 1. This is probably going to sound a little bit convoluted, but I'm going to try to start at the beginning. Approximately 2 years ago, I met with Amy Irani and some other staff with the idea of recertifying a septic system, a permitted septic system, to be able to add a bedroom, ADU, or now an RV. And what we came up with is similar for an as-built septic system. So it's a similar process for adding a bedroom as a as-built septic system. So that has not come to fruition to this point. The ADU ordinance is it's too strict in the sense that it has to have a septic system capable of handling it. So I don't know how many ADU permits have been pulled. Then you go to the tiny homes on wheels, which in my opinion, that is also a joke as far as an ordinance for getting people into housing for several reasons. It's got wheels. You can pull it away and pull it up to the house and pull it away. It doesn't make sense to me that it's a permanent residence when it has wheels. Coming to the RV ordinance that you guys just came up with, all the suggestions that I made for the RV ordinance was simplifying what's already on the books. You guys already have a 6-month permit process for an RV. You already have a 1-year permit process for one year. Clean it up, make it a 2-year for everyone, for any of those uses. My suggestion now is the direction you guys are going with your ordinance is going totally in the wrong direction. You're looking at making an RV a permanent residence. Personally, I haven't talked to Tom about this, but I'd be really willing to bet Tom himself isn't going to pull a permit for his RV the way it's drawn up right now. My recommendation now, to simplify it, is look at camping ordinance. Tent, yurt, RV, whatever it is, clean that one up so that people can camp in a yurt, in a tent, or an RV. Then make the RV pad itself a permitted pad. In other words, if a homeowner wants to rent an RV to somebody, He has a pad with either 6 inches of gravel or 4 inches of concrete, a regular septic hookup, a regular power hookup that's all permitted. It's a permitted fixed structure on that property that you could either rent out the space or put something on it and rent it out to people. I think this ordinance is far too complicated for an average person to even consider it, let alone someone homeless that is living in an RV, barely getting by. I don't see them lining up to get a permit any more different than the tiny homes on wheels. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have any callers?
There's no callers waiting on the phone, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Supervisors. Tom Durkin, District 4. I'm director of the No Place to Go project, formerly the Sierra Ridge No Place to Go project, but we are now an independent nonprofit in our own right. We have this hearing tonight at the Veterans Hall, and we're going to offer some amendments that I'd like to bring to your attention now because they're going to require some additional regulation writing. The federal Housing, Urban and Development only offers housing choice vouchers for ADUs. Something on wheels is not qualified. So we'd like to ask that the section that says that you can't remove ADUs, remove wheels, from the trailer, permit that to happen. That would require, regulations on putting it on blocks or foundation, but it would qualify people in those units to get housing choice vouchers. They're low-income people, they might need that. Another thing that I have to agree with Mr. Taylor, that it is very restrictive. For one thing, the 2-year renewal thing is going to, want to pay to get respected every 2 years. I don't think anybody's going to go for that. This ordinance looks good on paper, but it's not going to translate to the ground unless it's relaxed a bit and more accommodating the fact that we're dealing with low-income people who have very little resources. And one final thing about fire, we want to add into the ordinance a restriction that you may not move your tiny home or your trailer during a fire evacuation warning or evacuation order. We can't afford to have these units on the road during an evacuation. It's just too risky. So in exchange for having a privilege of living on, you have to leave your home like everybody else. So hope to see maybe some of you tonight at the hearing, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
Lee French, excuse me, Lee French, Alta Sierra, volunteer. I've been looking at the RV ordinance. It appears that if an ordinance is in place and it becomes unenforceable, then somebody comes along and tries to change the ordinance to meet the requirements of a whole bunch of people who are violating said ordinance and trying to set up more open requirements. This is fine for the homeless. I don't see a whole bunch of trailers being bought by the homeless, places to put them. I don't see people who own property buying RVs and so on, and going through the cost of putting in septic, electrical, water, etc. This is a cost thing that just cannot happen in the current conditions that we're looking at. I do have deep concern for those people who are homeless, and I feel that there are many other ways, if really worked on, could accommodate those people without going through a ordinance change. We need a place that's safe for them. We need a place that will accommodate not only RVs and trailers, but those people who are living in cars, those people who are in the woods. I know I couldn't go out and select a spot in the woods and just enjoy the woods and a campsite for myself as an alternate to my home. But here we are. We're talking about cost. And I can't see that the homeless can come up with rent for these places and so on. The county has to take another look at this and see how we can do this and provide the necessary support to bring these people out of the homeless condition and back into a lifestyle that is compatible with the rest of the county. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Madam Clerk, any callers at this point?
Yes, we do have one caller waiting.
Okay, let's bring them in.
Can we bring the caller in, please?
Hi, this is Matthew Coulter calling my elected representatives in the County of Nevada to attempt to make some kind of positive change that is extremely difficult. On the topic of this housing situation that people seem to be talking about, I'd like to bring to your attention the court case that I sat in the other day. It was for the arsonist that started 6 fires in the Bennett Street homeless camps that claimed, well, at least the investigators claim he worked for MEC Roofing. MEC Roofing is a city council, actually the vice mayor of Grass Valley. So we have people that are profiteering by putting people in homeless camps and then exploiting them, because that is exploiting them, and profiting. Then they get a position in a city government and use that position to profit. In their own guidelines in Grass Valley, it's illegal. In their own rules, it's illegal. And I'm trying to participate in the Development Review Committee meeting at 9 a.m. in Grass Valley. It's not being broadcast, which is a violation of the restraining order that you guys paid for, the County of Nevada, to punish me so I could not speak at meetings. To violate my constitutional rights, the County of Nevada continues and has spent over $1 million punishing me for nothing more than speaking at public comments. This is outrageous. It's got to stop. And the profiteers in the pot farms, the drugs, the contractors that are cutting corners for profits are putting us all in danger. Fire danger, road danger, whacked out meth head danger. This stuff is off the freaking hook in our town, and I don't see anyone really addressing it. It's very, very sad what's happening to our town, and our elected representatives seem to be motivated by the quick money, and they're pushing a lot of things through that really need more thought and consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more comments in the chamber? Okay, we're going to close public comment. Do you want to say something?
Just for clarification with the last speaker, Mr. Coulter is welcome to come to our meetings at any time. The county does not have any restraining orders against him. We welcome him to the chambers to participate openly in our public meetings. And there's also no pending lawsuits with the county. What he referenced in terms of the $1 million lawsuit, which I don't know if it's factual or not, I believe he's alluding to that's with the city of Grass Valley.
Okay, thank you. Our public comment is closed, and we are ready to move on to department head items. First one is the Regional Firearms Training Facility Project. Captain Scales, I believe you are leading this item today?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Sheriff Moon apologizes she cannot be here today. She's currently attending the post-commission meeting down in Los Angeles. Post Commission is the governing body that sets training standards and other guidelines for peace officers in the state of California. So she's very excited about this project and is sorry she couldn't be here today. With me is also our CFO, Georgette. So this facility has been in the making for a long time, but before we get into it, I'd just like to remind you of our mission statement, which is the Nevada County Sheriff's Office is committed to providing excellence in public service in partnership with our community. So when we started looking at this project, we said, why is it necessary? Well, training is necessary. It's required by law. So post standards and BSCC, that's the Bureau of State Community Corrections, and policy drive how often we train with firearms, as set in Post Regulation 1005 Parens D. Currently, we train a minimum of 4 times per year per staff member that's authorized to carry a firearm. With our agency, that equates to 141 positions across multiple shifts and job classifications. Why does that matter? Well, you've got folks on graveyard, you've got folks on opposite sides of the week, so it's not like we can just have a single training day and then knock out the training day with everybody all at once. We have to spread the training days to accommodate multiple shifts and multiple different types of positions. So it gets quite complicated when you're trying to schedule those things out. Our special enforcement detail, which is in charge of our most critical of missions, high-risk warrants, hostage rescues, those types of operations, the recommended standard for them to train by post is twice per month. And if you're not training according to the minimum standard, you better have a dang good reason when it comes time for if one of those operations goes south. Qualification is also required for new hires and folks who have missed trainings due to medical or family leave. So in addition to our training days, we need to have the flexibility to be able to set up training days to bring people back online. So whenever somebody gets hired or we need to requalify somebody after an injury, we also need to accommodate that. There's other types of trainings in addition to the 4 times per year that we do. And I didn't mention earlier, one of those 4 times per year is also a nighttime shoot, which means we shoot in low light hours to simulate those conditions, which currently with the outdoor range where we train at, you can only do when it's dark. So that also limits our training options. But there's a 2-day rifle course that we take, which does involve a 4 hours of classroom instruction. Currently, we don't have a classroom at any of our ranges where we train. So we do the classroom training off-site at a classroom location, then we'll drive to the range to get that accomplished. Those standards are set in Post Reg 1081. If possible, if we had the flexibility in the calendar, we'd love to host additional trainings as well to make sure our staff are as qualified as they could possibly be. Why do you want to train staff? Well, some of the #1 reasons are liability and safety for the community. A well-trained staff are better for the community. They're safer for residents and our staff. Our staff are put in a situation where even when you do everything right, you can have a bad outcome. And unfortunately, these decisions are usually made in a split second, and they can have life-altering ramifications for our staff and the community members involved. For that reason, we want to make sure our staff have access to the best training available. An indoor firearms range will give us increased opportunities for shoot, don't shoot scenarios, which we're currently limited to static targets, which means the targets don't move. So with an indoor range, you can change a lot of the dynamics involved with the scenarios. There's been an increased focus on law enforcement shootings in general over the past 15 to 20 years for good reason, and there's been some very large legal settlements across the country. That's why you want to make sure your staff, when they are put in that situation, they've been trained appropriately. And another factor is when one of these situations does happen and you have an officer-involved shooting, one of the first things that gets scrutinized is the training records of that particular member of our agency who's involved. For that reason, you want to always make sure that their training is up to par. Currently, we're pretty limited on training time, so we train at 3 different locations. We're grateful for those locations because we don't have a range ourselves, so the only way we could be in compliance with law and post standard is if we didn't rely on those ranges where we train. So the Grass Valley Police Department range is located off of Allison Ranch. It's very close to city limits, as I'm sure some of you are aware, and we're limited to range time at that facility because multiple agencies train at that location. We've had to cancel trainings at that location due to noise because it is so close to city limits. Our primary facility where we train is a Fish and Wildlife Range. We have to go out of Nevada County to train at that facility, and multiple agencies, again, compete for range time at that particular facility. There's also a local business which has an indoor firearms range, which is very generous with their time with us, but they actually call employees in to open up and allow us to train when the business is not actually running. They are a business, and we are very respectful of their business hours, but it does really limit how often we can use that facility. So with that, you can see there's so little flexibility in the training schedule, it's difficult to accomplish all of our needs. So lack of facilities, our current primary range, as you can see on the map there, is about 25 miles from our office here in 950 Maidu. There are no water or bathrooms. It's approximately 45 minutes, and the last 10 minutes of that is down a dirt road. There's no radio or cellular communication out there, so if we have a range accident or any other type of emergency, such as a fire, which has happened unfortunately, we have to drive about 10 minutes to get back to cell phone service or utilize a satellite phone and hope to connect. Because there's no power out there, there's static targets only, which limits our training options. We sometimes have to mow and weed eat a day before we go out there and train, just because nature is nature and weeds grow and grass grows. And the last thing we want is to start a fire out there. It is weather dependent. We've had trainings that we've had to cancel out there. For example, shooting from the 50-yard line and the targets are obscured by smoke due to wildfires. It's a difficult place to train at times. And anybody who knows the Spencerville area knows it gets really, really hot in the summertime and there is no shade out there. So what are some of the concerns that we have with the range? Well, an indoor range, well, number one is going to be noise, which is mitigated by design. You've got contamination. Lead is a nasty substance. We don't want to expose our staff to lead contamination, so that's mitigated by filtration, again, design, and also lead testing for the range instructors. Safety is a big component of what we do when we train. We know we're going to have operating procedures will be necessary for this range. We've already been in contact with risk management, and we've been in contact with multiple agencies who operate indoor firearms ranges to see if we can steal their procedures and adopt the best practice to make sure our training facility is operated in a safe manner. And then you have cost. Cost is, in this case, mitigated by special revenue funds and a possible directed funding request. So currently, where are indoor firearms ranges? Well, all of you took a tour of the Placer County Sheriff's Office Firearms Range, which is directly adjacent to the juvenile courthouse as well as juvenile hall. You've got an animal shelter not too far away, Health and Human Services across the street. The main office for the Placer County Sheriff's Office in Auburn also shares that same parking lot with all of their office staff, their dispatch center, detectives. All of those units actually work out of that same parking lot. This is the Rockland Police Department. They have an indoor firearms range as well that is inside their building. That is where all of their office staff work. In addition, it's across the street from residential housing, the Rockland DMV, the amphitheater, Quarry Park, and the community theater. This is the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office. Again, shares a parking lot with their main office staff, their dispatch center, all of those things. You've got housing adjacent to it, a church, and several businesses directly adjacent to it. And this is a private firearms range in Sacramento. Directly across the street, you have apartments. Across the field there at the bottom of the picture, that is a school. You've got residential housing, baseball field, tennis courts, a pool, and a senior center directly across the street. One of the things we asked ourselves when we launched on this project is, why don't we build an outdoor range? It would likely be cheaper. What we found in our research is there's a lot of environmental concerns these days, and it's a really difficult approval process. The ranges that currently operate, they've been grandfathered in, but getting a new facility that operates commercially is pretty difficult to get done. You have to do a lot of scoop out of the dirt, put in a barrier, put in more dirt, another barrier, and go through several layers of that before you put in rubber. Where would that location go? Well, nobody wants it next to them, as those of you who have outdoor firearms ranges in your jurisdictions have probably experienced complaints. I think we all remember some of the issues that has happened with outdoor firearms ranges with commercial vendors and CCW vendors. And so how do you mitigate that? You mitigate it with an indoor range. If you were to find an area that would not bother anybody, it would necessarily be far out of town like our current facility is, and you have the same issues we have, which is no power, no water, no infrastructure to support that particular location. This, again, limits your training options. It's limited by weather. You have maintenance concerns, who's going to be mowing the grass and all those kinds of things. You have fire concerns, and then, of course, the noise concerns. Let's talk about the process so far. So this started, this has been a dream for 25 years. The sheriff recalls early on in her career, the agency talking about doing a range. Research started in earnest in April of 2024. Our scope development was flushed out in October of 2024. We noticed Nevada City in February of 2025. The 3 vendors invited to submit and design a build proposal in April of 2025, and they were scored in May of 2025. JKAE and Modern were selected based upon scoring that was not really close in the scoring, as a matter of fact. They're far and away the winner in this particular endeavor. Site development and future planning was done in July of 2025, and then site finalization and the presentation to the Board of Supervisors in September of 2025. Our desired timeline for this project, beginning this month actually, we'll be reviewing the plans, and CEQA NEPA will begin late this year and early next year. Have working drawings between the first month of the year and third month of next year. I'll go through the agency approval process of those drawings and begin site work around August of 2026, and then commissioning and occupancy between September and October of 2027. So what is this range going to have? Well, first and foremost, it's going to meet and exceed all noise requirements. It will have 12 lanes and 50 yards. It will be capable of having a vehicle inside the building. A lot of officer-involved shootings do involve a vehicle, such as a vehicle stop scenario, and we need to be able to train in that particular aspect. It'll be capable of capturing .308 caliber rounds, which is the largest round that we fire at this agency. It will have rotating targets. Why that's important is officers can be presented with different scenarios where targets will rotate, and some of the targets could have a cell phone, like you see there on the picture, and some could have a weapon. And an officer will have to present or make a decision at that time in, again, a split second to engage that target or not. It'll have a running man target, which you'll see a scenario or a demonstration of in a minute. That running man target is actually 2 targets that move independently of each other and present officers the decision to engage a target or not, again, based upon the threat level of that particular target. They'll have a classroom for 30 people, hand washing stations and restrooms. Hand washing is extremely important. Currently, we're washing with water bottles out at the outdoor ranges and stuff like that. Then we eat lunch, and then we get back to shooting in the afternoon. So it'll be nice to have a place where we can clean our hands appropriately, and, of course, a bathroom. Firearms cleaning stations, best practice is you clean your firearm once you're done with your range. You don't want to go into the field with a dirty weapon. We don't have that ability at our current range, so what we typically do is head to our homes or head back to the office to clean our firearms. But best practice is to leave that range with a clean weapon to make sure it's ready to go at a moment's notice. We'll have an armory for repair of weapons as well as storage of ammunition and other weapons, and a rubber bullet trap, which is the quietest type of trap you can have for this particular operation. So this is the running man target. As you can see, the threat is presented. The officer chooses to engage the threat based upon when the target is available to send rounds downrange. This range will also have a parallel 90-degree target, as you can see there on the wall. So the last 5 yards of the range, we'll be able to engage targets in that direction as well, which is something we do not have at our current outdoor ranges. It would prevent a safety hazard. Those of you who are familiar with outdoor ranges, you typically have one berm that you're shooting at to capture the round. So having a 90-degree target will be something that we do not currently have. Ongoing maintenance of the range. So a rubber bullet trap will capture enough lead to pay for their lead remediation costs. This is typically done every 2 to 3 years, again, based upon how much you shoot. The range will not be operational for while this is going on for 1 to 2 days. The pre-filters for the filtration system, this is a concrete structure with a very sophisticated filtration system, is essentially all the range is. These filters are replaced every 6 months or so at a cost of $2,000 each, presenting a $4,000 cost per year. HEPA filters are replaced every 1.5 to 2 years, again, dependent upon shooting. The filtration systems themselves have a percentage indicator showing how much life they have left on them before they need to be serviced. That is around $10,000 per replacement. And you'll have annual maintenance of targets and things like that, which is expected to be a nominal cost. The expended brass, so the casings for the rounds that we'll be firing in the range, we will capture all that brass, and that can be recycled for around $2.40 per pound. That's the current rate. This offsets the cost of the filters and annual maintenance. There's also a cost recovery measure. We intend on hosting other agencies at this training or at this facility. we will figure out our operating costs once we're up and running, and then pass that on to the agencies who are going to be shooting there. That's the common practice by most law enforcement agencies out there who have an indoor range. So this is the location. It's located at 15434 Cahaley Drive, or Cahaley Court. Most of you know it as the former Juvenile Hall, or as we've rebranded it, the Sheriff's Office Regional Dispatch and Training Center. Highway 49 to orient you is not pictured on this. It would be at the top of the slide. So the building in gray there in the middle, that's the current dispatch and training facility. The range would be located on the left side of the drawing. The bullet trap would be located towards the Highway 49 side. And then the classroom portion is oriented at the rear of the building there. The building in pink on the bottom of the slide there is a proposed garage in the future. We would do all of the undergrounding, parking, grading, and stub outs for utilities and stuff like that in this particular phase of the project. And then the K-9 training facility, which is currently located about where the garage is. We intend on reusing all the fencing and putting that on the far right side of the drawing there. To show you what the exterior of the range would look like, it's block wall construction, similar to the sort of the building that's there currently. You can see the vehicle exiting the building there in roughly the center of the slide. Again, classroom capable of seating 30 people. We're very excited about this. A lot of people don't realize that range instruction requires classroom, and we just currently don't have that ability. The classroom also will have the standard audiovisual needs, all those kinds of things. Firearms cleaning stations, these are specially vented and able to handle the types of solvents and things like that that we use, and of course storage for patches and brushes and all the things you need to clean firearms. The range itself, you can see the vehicle entry door is the white dot roughly in the middle. This is a view from the 50-yard line. Have simplified shelving on the back of the facility. With ranges, you don't want nooks and crannies where lead, dust, or any of that stuff can gather. So you try and keep it as minimalist as possible. The really neat thing about the design of this range is it actually has windows so you can see what's going on inside the range from both the classroom and the hallway areas. This is a view from roughly the 10 or 15-yard line. You can see the overhead baffling there directing lead and other projectiles downrange, and then the 12 lanes, as you can see there. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Georgette for the finance portion of the presentation.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors, Chair Hall. Thanks for the opportunity to present this morning on the firearms range. The costs, I feel like this is very loud, but the costs are broken into two phases. Phase one is what we're seeking approval for today, and that's a total of $16,833,500. That is primarily comprised of the cost of the range itself at almost $13 million. And then there are some additional add-ons to it. The Scheme D design is what you just saw a few minutes ago. As we completed the selection of the contractor and designer for the project, we asked them to take a strategic look at the site and make sure that we were orienting the firearms range in the best possible orientation, as well as thinking about some of the future needs that the Sheriff's Office might have related to the site. And so that $3.175 million are additional costs related to kind of reorienting the firearms range, as you just saw, and then adding the additional parking and the underground utilities, not only for the firearms range, but also for potential future vehicle storage space for the Sheriff's Office, as well as search and rescue. And that leads me to phase two, which is pending authorization of the federal government of the ask for the federal earmark or congressionally directed funding. If that were to be approved in the next 6 months or so, we would move forward with actually constructing the building, and that's phase two. And the total cost there is $2,343,000. So the total project cost, and this includes the contingency of $580,500, is $19,176,500. Again, today we're only seeking authorization for phase one, the 16.8, and then conditional authorization pending federal earmark approval for phase 2.
All right, before we get to questions, I'd just like to thank everybody who's assisted in this project. Des Belding, who's here today, has been a great assist, along with everybody who's helped along the way. We're really appreciative of our partnership in this project. Pat at Facilities, Just and Drink Water, everybody has really supported this project. I can tell you that this is, Sheriff told me when we were discussing this presentation, she said this is the most important project of her career. So we're really excited for this project, mostly because of what it offers our staff. It offers our staff the chance to be the best trained officers, and it really is a regional asset. We call this a regional training center because this is something that all local law enforcement agencies can utilize. What we've heard from our partners who have ranges out of this county is as soon as you build it, you've got a list of people who are looking to utilize range time. Those of you who attended the tour, which was all of you, may have heard from the range instructor, their calendars, there's always something going on every single day. So we're really excited about this project. And with that, we'll open up to questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean and Georgette. Yeah, this is very exciting. And thank you for all the great detail on this. So I'm going to start by just turning it over to my colleagues for questions.
No questions. I think that I really enjoyed taking the tour. I thought that was very informative, and thank Placer County for arranging that. And that was a great, just an example of the teamwork that can happen. And when I look at how many people then, our staff that we have that's going to utilize this, it just seems very positive to me. So no questions. I think it's a good move forward.
Questions?
Thanks for the presentation. Yeah, familiar with the project, and thanks for wrapping it up and bringing it to us in a nice, concise way. I just had a couple of questions on the capital funding stack that's going into it and what budget units will be paying for it.
Sure. This will be done out of our Sheriff Administration budget, and we are using basically 3 pots of money that we call special revenue funds. One is Fund 1171, I think. It's our Rural Counties Fund. And then 1642, which is our COPS Special Revenue Fund. And then the third source is actually in the general fund. It's the Justice Services Reserve that is reserved for use by the Sheriff's Office for capital facilities or other projects.
Okay. And then you add in the federal set aside the earmark portion for phase 2, and then you have your total budget.
Correct.
Okay. And then did the budget ad hoc weigh in, or did you get a presentation on all this? Pretty much mirrored what is here and kind of talked about the general fund implications. The other agency, the percent of use from the other agencies, is there an estimate on who may use it and how much?
I mean, it'd be just local agencies as far as percentages and stuff like that. No.
Not yet.
I mean, we have a lot of our staff getting, those 141 positions through. Our staff would take priority. But as local agencies, we very much recognize that we're reliant on local agencies currently for where we go shooting other than the private firearms range. We have no intention of, hoarding it to ourselves or anything like that.
Yeah.
You saw with Placer County, we tend to work very well with each other because we realize that this is not something that just benefits us. It's in all of our interests to have the best trained officers in this community. And with us working so closely with each other, we send, Grass Valley PD, Nevada City PD, to handle our calls for service. We're tied up on a great big fire. Truckee PD the same way. We handle each other's calls quite a bit. So it's in all of our interest to have the best trained officers available.
Yeah, absolutely. On that, similar question, but is there an estimate of how many days you will utilize it? Just so, because like when we saw the Placer County range and we talked to them a little bit, that would kind of give us a proxy for how many days may be available to.
Yeah, as far as I'd have to sit down and work out the exact calendar. The other thing we'd like to do is host additional trainings at this agency. So even when we're not using it ourselves, hosting either outside agencies. As you may or may not have heard from Placer County, one of the nice things about hosting outside agencies is you realize that you don't do everything correctly, or maybe there's better ways to do things,
Yeah,
so you
right.
can actually learn quite a bit from that. So.
Yeah. How long does the training session last? Because I think you kind of alluded to, hey, we're out here, and then after lunch we go here. And I mean, when you talk about training 4 times a year, are you talking 4 days per year, or is it 2 hours of training? Like, what's a training session?
Typically, we train in 8-hour sessions, but it
Okay.
really depends on the particular block. So post standards set a perishable skills training at 4 hours. But so we'll do the post session, which when we do post training, it's all regulated. You have to go down in the 3rd level of detail. It's regulated as far as what topics you cover, use of force policy, all those kinds of things. So we'll typically do that in a 4-hour block, and then we'll do a 4-hour block in the afternoon of something else. Or we might do annual qualifications. Pistol qualifications are separate from rifle qualifications. So there's quite a bit of stuff that has to get done.
Yeah, it's full day.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just one last question is, the use of general funds, for this facility won't impact payment or staffing on your officer side, public safety side.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
I do have a follow-up question. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Hardy covered pretty much all of my questions. I think the need is hard to argue with. It's really, the funding piece and the cost. I think in one of the reports, there were some alternatives laid out. Can you just briefly summarize what those were and why we recommended this direction?
Sure, and I may call on JKAE Modern if there's more detail there. But as I said, once the contractor was selected, we really wanted to make sure that we were using the site layout in the most beneficial way for the long term, not just the current project, but sort of future potential uses of that site. And so JKAE came up with a scheme, presented us with 4 different options. One very similar to what was done in the proposal, which would have had the firearms range in the back part of the lot where you saw the red square for the future vehicle storage SAR building. And then there were some variations to that and what Scheme D in terms of the number of parking for sheriff's office vehicles. There is a thought that we might in the future relocate our patrol units to that site because we would have the ability to have them behind gates, so better protected. We have some very expensive vehicles in addition to our patrol vehicles, like the Bearcat, for example. So it would be nice to have gated access to those vehicles, which is the common practice with police or sheriff's office vehicles.
And the other thing that this option presented us is the most amount of parking with the least amount of impact to the neighboring parcel that's also county-owned further up Highway 49. So that was one of the things that we took into account. So a little bit more grading at this time saves us money in the long run and when all the equipment is out there now.
And also we're doing the CEQA NEPA on sort of the overall project. So that also potentially saves us money in the long run, so we don't have to go back and redo the analyses in the future if we move forward with these projects.
Thank you. And I know we toured the Placer County facility, but that was built 15 plus years ago. I think in either the discussions or the reports, it referenced the El Dorado County Sheriff's Facility that I think was built within the last 5-7 years. Is this facility that we're proposing comparable to that? Do we have an idea of cost?
Somewhat. That's a little bit difficult to parse out. So when they did that project, it was done in 2019, I believe. However, it was part of an overall campus project. So they did, I believe that was an $85 million build for the entire facility itself, for the entire property. But that included an adjacent office, just similar to what you saw in Placer County, is quite similar to what El Dorado has. The range cost itself, back then I believe were around 5 to 7 million, but that doesn't include their range. For example, you can't shoot the entire length of the range. And in addition, it doesn't have the targeting systems that we will have in this particular range. It's unclear how much of the undergrounding and all of that stuff was part of the campus, the whole campus project versus just the building itself.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, the other part of this is you guys practice 4 times a year, right? Or you train, or you get certified. But this allows you, it'll be used on a daily basis. And then there's a lot of opportunity they could go in and shoot on a regular time, which you need to do. So that's the other part. You don't have to travel to a different place. You can go in and shoot for 20 rounds, clean your gun and go back to work or go home. I mean, so there's other opportunities besides just those 4 days, those 4 times a year.
Yeah. Good morning, Board. Sam Brown, I'm the Undersheriff for the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. I want to just clarify also, 4 times is a minimum amount of times that we're training. And the hard part when you're traveling out 45 minutes with staff and all the amount of people that we're doing, that limits the amount of time that we can train. One thing that I think Nevada County needs to really focus on is we're talking about an investment. And it's not just an investment in that we're going to go and do target practice and shooting. This isn't just the friends going out and blowing off rounds in an underground bunker. The reality is that we'll never be the highest paid entity. And so attracting and recruiting people, the way you do that is by making sure that when their family members are going to come work for us, they're going to be the safest that they can possibly be. And you do that by providing the best training that you can possibly give, by having state-of-the-art equipment or the best upgrades of things that you can do. And a big part of that is the decision-making. When we go out to a scene, and it's critical, I don't know if people saw in the news yesterday with Folsom and these things that like unfold in a moment's notice, and you have to make a decision, and we've had those in-house, have to make decisions like in a moment's notice. Our employees that are going to feel the safest are going to be the best trained. And although we say, hey, 4 times a year, if we're better off having like a 4-hour training that's going to implement some other things, we now have the ability to literally just go across the street from our workstation, and we have the ability to put people in for the range. We can work with other entities like the FBI who put on trainings and do some things because we'll have a facility to accommodate that. I know the number is really big, and when we talk about the general funds out of the Justice Service funds, those are funds that are earned by our correctional staff by working hard and doing our federal contract. So the Sheriff's Office has a big stake in that. We've worked really hard to earn some of these funds to pull this together. And I think it's important to remember, it's not like a dollar for dollar, and although I know Captain Scales doesn't have a mapped out, like this is exactly what our training and everything's going to be, because we have to have a building first. We have to understand what we can map out and who's going to be available. But the reality is the recruitment and retention and keeping our staff safe, that's the most important thing to the sheriff right now. It's how do we make sure that when we go out, we're making the best decisions for our constituents in the community and telling them, hey, we're here, we're going to make really good split-second decisions by having the best training and the best capabilities of equipment and things like that.
That makes perfect sense. Total 100% alignment with what you just described there. I think that's what I want. I would venture to guess probably my colleagues on the board would say the same thing, 100%. The reason I'm asking a lot of questions is because it's a big number and I know money's tight. The public outreach process related to the neighbors, could you just describe how they have an input or a voice into the process of what's used or what's designed or et cetera?
Yeah, so the notice was provided to Nevada City in February of 2025. This facility is, we're confident and through the design process and stuff like that, it'll more than meet all noise concerns. As you all saw on the tour, and you could see in the presentation how close these facilities are to residences and things like that. We don't anticipate any impact at all. It's important to remember that the juvenile hall, or the former juvenile hall, was a functioning juvenile hall for 20 years. It was built for a capacity of 60 plus people with industrial washing and laundry, HVAC equipment, all of those kinds of stuff. It's not like you're talking a vacant parcel here. This property has had a commercial use for 20 plus years.
Yeah, I was laughing because in the Placer County visit, we were waiting to see when they shot, and we never figured it out. We had to go back in, like, did you shoot? Okay, yeah, we're outside. We didn't hear it. So yeah, I understand, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, the impact is quite low to the, we don't really anticipate much of anything at all. It's technology these days is really neat. We also, as you can see on the slide there, we're also going with upgraded ceiling tiles, which is an increased cost of $42,000, but decreases, it's about 30%, reduces some of the noise. So even every chance we've had in this process to make the facility as quiet as possible, we've done so.
Yeah, good. And then my final question is I talked to Georgette several times about a master plan for the campus, and I think your schematic design is that master plan. Do I understand that right?
Correct.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just one small follow-up question on that previous one, Hardy, because I've been out talking to the community about the other project that we're trying to build out here for our facility, and the questions are about noise from construction and traffic. So just if you could follow on with the outreach you're planning for that part of it as well.
Sure, we would more than notice all residents and stuff like that. It's important to note that construction would not begin until August. We're projecting August of next year. You know, so we've got plenty of time to make sure that's done. These facilities are being built it's directly adjacent to our dispatch center, which is one of the most critical pieces of equipment that we have, and we can't have a bunch of super loud noise or anything like that with that. So we don't anticipate a significant impact. As with any construction project, there will be noise. We're not saying it's going to be absolutely quiet, but it is relatively short term, and we'll do as much notice as necessary.
Great, thank you. Okay, then at this point, we'll open it up for public comment.
Lee French, Alta Sierra. There were a couple of things that came up. On the design, there were windows for viewing. Would that be open to citizens coming in to view? I'm sure there's some tough regulations for that, but still, how would that work? Would that be available to citizens to view what happens there?
Is that your full comment, Lee? We'll definitely turn it over to Sean to answer those.
Very good. The other thing is, you said that other agencies would be using this. I don't know what agencies they are. Are they Grass Valley Police, Nevada? I assume that. However, are there other agencies? For instance, last year we had some firemen shot. And are you considering maybe some kind of program to help protect those firemen a little bit better? Some kind of training, some firearms use? Where do we go from there? Hopefully this classroom situation that you're building will help in that area. And it's a consideration that's highly thought of right now because of all the crazy people out there shooting people. So anyway, I think that's an important area, and I wonder if they are one of the agencies that will be using the training facility. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Captain Scales, can you address those issues?
Yeah, so regarding the peace officers who work for the fire agencies, they currently train with our agency. We train with Consolidated and Penn Valley Fire and those who have, we call them gun toters. So those who are peace officers with the fire agencies, they currently train with us. Whenever we have a training, we'll give them a call up and say, hey, we're doing the 4-hour perishable skills requirement, or we're going through an active shooter course, or whatever it happens to be. So it's not uncommon for us to train with them. As far as the other agencies, just what you would picture. Nevada City PD, Truckee PD, Grass Valley PD, your local agencies, local CHP office as well. Regarding his other question regarding the public, I hadn't truly considered that, to be honest. I don't know that we would or wouldn't. It had never occurred to me.
All right, thank you. Any more questions in the chambers?
I do have one more follow-up. A lot of our training, we're not looking to train the public on our tactics either, because that exposes our officers to risk, right? So if we're talking a static qual course, which is just a simple qual course, That's one thing. If you're talking tactical training and things like that, likely not. We typically don't tell people those types of things so that our officers, when they go out in the field, you don't have a bad actor who's learned our tactics and then can use our tactics against us.
Thanks for that clarification. Do we have any callers?
Yes, Chair, we have one caller waiting.
Okay.
Can we bring the caller in, please?
I can hear the anticipation in your voice, Heidi. And I just like to question how much training we need to not shoot people sitting on the ground 3 feet in front of you or moms with their kids on the street. And will this range help eliminate the Gabe Strickland and Sage Crawford situations in our county? As well as the fentanyl overdose at the range after hours locally here was a little disturbing. Our current range being placed at the sewage treatment plant and the animal shelter in Grass Valley is like torture for the animals. If you could imagine them smelling 4,000 times stronger than we can, have the ability to smell 4,000 times, and hear much better too, and then have to be subjected to sewage and gunfire. So I don't hear this much energy being put into the shelter. I don't hear millions of dollars just being stamped at one meeting with one presentation with the head of the sheriff's department on vacation in Los Angeles. It's really disturbing that you guys are going to approve 16 to 19 million for a piece of equipment that was just demonstrated every surrounding county has a facility. Why are we sending our children to Placer County to juvenile hall? Because our facility up here costs $1.2 million per child, and that's why it closed. So I'm just questioning the need and the expense, and actually the location, because I thought that's where the Tahoe National Forest was going to put their facility. But I guess that's been squashed by the federal government. So everything's up in the air, but it's odd that this gets pushed through and moved along while I listen to people beg to be able to put a trailer on a piece of land. That is just so crazy that people are begging for food and housing while the sheriffs march up and say, oh, we need a tank. Well, how come that wasn't on the budget? Was this in the budget? Or is this one of those other presentations that comes in between the budget approvals, $19 million that will just be stamped, and it never went through a budget process? This is outrageous. Our poor county is getting eaten alive. I look at all the meth and fentanyl that's being captured in our surrounding counties, and for some reason we don't find it here. I think we're purists, possibly. And I do enjoy that fact of this county. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start by answering one of those questions that this did go through the budget process, and this is one piece of it. Captain Scales, do you want to try to address some of the other issues he raised?
I'll jump in there. Sam Brown. So I think that the biggest thing is that this has been, as transparent as possible. We're going through all the county processes. We're working through all of the entities. This is the first part of bringing up where things are at. We did go through budget subcommittee and all of the things that we're supposed to do. And we're trying to do our best. When people question the need for a facility like this, it's huge. And you cannot create stress inoculation like you're going to feel in the field when something really is going down. And now all of a sudden you have to make a decision when your heart rate's at 120 beats per minute. Well, if you can't create that, how can somebody react appropriately when those things actually have to happen at that time? And I will say that our staff are well trained, but it's not easy to keep up in doing those things. And I think that we're fortunate. We have good community support because of the actions that we make, and we wouldn't come here and ask for something if it wasn't necessary. And I know that not everybody is in our world and lives in it on a regular basis, but for those of us that are, Mr. Coulter kind of answered his own question. Why does El Dorado and Placer and all of these other places have an indoor range? It's because it's a necessity. It's a standard in law enforcement. And in all reality, in Nevada County, we're a little bit behind in the times. And, you know, maybe we don't have the money that Placer does have, but the sheriff's office has strategically planned and prepped out and pushed forward, and we evaluated lots of different projects, and this was the one that we felt was going to be the most important. We don't bring that forward lightly, and it comes with making sure that our staff and our community is going to be the best that it can be. And I don't know how to better answer that than that we care greatly for the people that are here. I live here. I want my community to be safe. I want my kids to be safe. And I want our law enforcement that work for us to be the safest that they can be. And although, yeah, we talk about the local entities that would use the range, there's also state parks and the feds and all the different people that are going to be here. We want to make sure we're all working together and that we know the types of things we're doing. When we started training and doing active shooter for the schools, we invited everybody together. We worked with the PDs. We had state and federal partners coming because they're going to show up in a critical incident anyway, and we need to have that good relationship. And there's nothing better than if we can bring them to a location that we can all be training in the same way, responding in the same way, and hopefully have that be the best that it can be for our community.
Chair Hall, let me just provide additional information. First of all, Sheriff Moon is not on vacation. She's a governor appointee at a state commission meeting representing law enforcement at a state and local level, and we appreciate her service and commitment to that. Second, this project is aligned with all of our purchasing, capital planning with the county. This discussion has started over multiple years ago and looking at how this would be financed, and this has been brought to the board multiple times through the workshop as well as earmark process with the federal government, as well as capital facilities and the budget committee. So I appreciate the Sheriff's Department aligning the project with all of our processes and protocols and the board's questions and comments and direction along the way. So thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have any other callers?
That was the last caller, Chair.
Okay, and any more comments in the chambers? All right, then we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Any more comments or questions?
Just going to make a motion.
Okay, looks good. I'll just say that I appreciate also the process that the Sheriff's Office went through with us. Really appreciated the opportunity to go down and see another range and how they handle the hazardous waste that comes off from there and how they handle the noise. Honestly, I did hear the shots and it was incredibly quiet. So that was really, gave me confidence and on top of the fact that this clearly has long been needed in this county. I think what you're saying is, the most important thing you're saying is that this will increase our public safety, to have well-trained officers and for you all to have the opportunity to do all the kinds of training you need. So clearly the biggest concern and issue is the cost, like with every one of our capital projects. And I appreciate so much that you've managed to pull that out, so much of that out of the sheriff's budget. That's really very helpful. So excited to see this potentially moving forward. Thanks for all your efforts to educate us on what this all means for the community.
It was our pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion and a second
So I move that we approve,
to adopt the resolution.
I move that we adopt the resolution authorizing a contract between the Nevada County Sheriff's Office and Modern Building to design and build a regional firearms training facility in a phased approach for the first phase of $16,466,000 and the second phase for $2,130,000.
Second.
Okay, Madam Chair. Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. District 5?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
And District 1?
Yes. All right, very good. Thank you so much for all the effort. Now you can go build. All right, we'll take it just a half a minute for folks to go out. Do we need a quick break? You guys want a break? Let's take a 5-minute break. Just let folks leave the room. right, thanks for being prepared already. Our next item is from the Registrar of Voters regarding a resolution directing the county clerk recorder, Registrar of Voters to consolidate a number of, special bond measure with the November 4th statewide special election. So turning it over to you, Corey, thank you.
Thank you, Chair Hall. Bear with me, I've been a little under the weather the last couple days. So, Corey O'Hare, Acting Clerk Recorder, Registrar of Voters.
Good morning, Chair Hall, members of the board. Doug Johnson, Deputy County Counsel. I'm here representing the Elections Office.
I want to take the time to update the supervisors and voters of Nevada County on our preparation for the upcoming statewide special election and discuss the resolution to consolidate the statewide special election with the Community Facilities District Number 1 of the Truckee Library Joint Powers Authority Special Bond Major Election. That's a lot. Our staff has been working hard to prepare for the upcoming election, including working closely with vendors to meet deadlines, securing vote center and drop box locations, preparing our new ballot processing center, and hiring temporary workers and vote center workers for the upcoming election. All of the administrative tasks mentioned have to be done in a timely manner in order to effectively conduct an election, and I'm here to say that we're right on track. With that, I'm excited to say to the Nevada County voters that we will have 9 vote centers open like we regularly do in any regularly scheduled election. There are a couple changes to make note of. One, instead of Truckee Town Hall being one of our locations for Truckee, we are using the Truckee Tahoe Airport for one of our vote centers in Truckee. This was already planned when we were preparing for the Truckee Library Bond Major election, and we decided it would be best to keep that space for this election. 2, we will only have a Monday and Tuesday 2-day vote center at Gold Miners Inn as opposed to the normal 4-day vote center. All of the other vote center locations will be open and operating the same as any other regularly scheduled election. All the vote center and drop box locations and hours of operation are already posted on our Nevada County Elections website under current elections and will be clearly communicated in your voter information guide and your instructions for voting in your ballot packet. As far as the resolution that is in front of the board today, consolidating elections that take place on the same day is typical and routine for elections. We have brought similar consolidations in multiple elections prior to this. In the resolutions provided to us by the Joint Powers Authority related to the Truckee Library bond election, they stated we can consolidate with other elections taking place on November 4th, 2025. When the statewide special election was called, they also made note that any other election may be consolidated with the statewide special election as long as the election was called 88 days prior to election day. All conditions have been met to consolidate the 2 elections. Therefore, I'm asking our Board of Supervisors to approve this resolution. Thank you for a little bit of time here, and I'm ready to entertain any questions you might have.
Thank you. Board members, any questions? Questions? You have, go ahead.
Thanks, Corey. Is there a cost savings associated with the payment by the state to produce the special election versus the JPA library election? Is there some sort of monetary trade there?
Well, by consolidating the election in general, it is going to make it more affordable for the JPA election. An election going by itself on a ballot is pretty costly compared to consolidating elections.
So
but the state money will be for the state election, and then per usual, we have a resolution that states a district that's consolidating in a statewide special election or any election. We have a resolution going back from this board, when was that, like 2010 10 or so that states we will charge the district based on that resolution and the bounds of that resolution. So in general, it will be a cost saving for that election.
Okay, thanks. And then the choice to have a 2-day instead of a 4-day polling hours of operation, what was driving that?
That was just for gold miners in, and that really was the availability of the facility, because this election was called so late in the game. We were happy and excited that we were able to partner with all the locations we normally partner with, but we also thought we still had plenty of facilities open, and a 2-day of gold miners in would still be great for our voters, and not have to not go to the extent of trying to force our way into a 4-day there. So to respect the community and who was already there.
Is that the only location that has a 2-day?
That'll be the only 2-day for this election, correct? We do have a 1-day that we normally do every single election up in North San Juan. So we will have 1 2-day gold miners in, 1 day up at North San Juan.
And the Truckee is 4 days?
Yeah, so the Truckee Tahoe Airport will be 11 days, and the Truckee Unified School District, Truckee Tahoe Unified School District will be a 4-day. I can go through them all if you really want, but they're on our website.
I'm sorry, I didn't
No, it's
follow.
okay.
I didn't follow it was like a caveat for the 2-day, but I wasn't sure. It sounds like they're all different. Is that right?
So, Chair Hall, Supervisor, the election's going to be consistent with previous elections.
Okay.
The caveat is Gold Miners Inn, which is our busiest place to vote, was already booked by a local organization.
I see.
So we try to look at different variations instead of changing the site, which we thought would be more confusing to the voters. We're recommending to continue at the hotel for the 2 days, including Election Day, which will be our busiest.
And if I could add, Supervisor Bullock and members of the board, the state legislation that's implementing the election called regarding Proposition 50 mandates a minimum number of vote centers to be open per countywide population, 11-day vote centers and 4-day vote centers, and the elections office is meeting all of those minimum standards and more by opening all 9.
Got it. Thank you. That answered my question. Thanks.
Open public comment. Any public comment in the chambers? Madam Clerk, do we have any callers on this item?
Yes, we do have one
Okay.
caller, Chair.
Let's bring them in.
Can we bring that caller in, please?
Hi, this is Matthew Coulter commenting on this topic, and I hope that we can get our elections department back in order and get some qualified individual in there. Running for Grass Valley City Council, 2 separate occasions on 2 separate ballots, beaten, jailed, and have my rights violated as a candidate, and even as a citizen trying to participate in our local government. And bringing these issues to the county, I was told that Grass Valley's on their own sheet of music. So I'm a little confused of what the election department does. Should there be a new elections department in Grass Valley? Because they're not held to any standard, and our elections department refuses to hold them to any standard. And because of that, we get what we get, and we got what we got. And it's a mess. But, hell, it's Nevada County, Grass Valley, Nevada City, and Truckee. All different lengths of votings, all different places, all different times. I mean, it's awesome the way you're closing out the voters and confusing them. More confusion, the better. More separation, the better. More separation, putting things in boxes here, there, and everywhere, the better. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Any other callers?
No other callers, Chair.
Okay, and no one in the chambers? We'll close public comment and bring it back to the board for do we have a vote on this one? Yes, motion and a second to adopt the resolution, please.
I move to adopt.
I'll second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4, Yes. District 3
Yes.
and District 1.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to our next item. This is a resolution proclaiming September 20th as the South Yuba River Citizens League's 28th annual Yuba River Cleanup in Nevada County. Shavati, welcome, and Dan Circle, welcome.
Good morning, Chair Hall. Chair Hall, members of the board, I'm Shavati Karki-Pearl, your Senior Administrative Analyst for the Community Development Agency, managing your recreation program. I'm pleased to introduce Daniel Elkin, the Communications and Education Director for South Yuba River Citizens League, or CIRCLE. For nearly 3 decades, CIRCLE has brought our community together around the protection and stewardship of the Yuba River watershed. In addition to organizing the annual Yuba River cleanup, CIRCLE plays a key role in the South Yuba River public safety cohort. Through their River Ambassador program, they educate rivergoers directly at popular access points, encouraging safe practices and responsible recreation. They also have been a strong partner in coordinated public messaging throughout the summer alongside other members of the cohort, helping us to promote safety, stewardship, and community care. CIRCLE is here today to share more about this year's cleanup event and to join us in recognizing this important effort through a proclamation item that is before you, requesting that the Board of Supervisors proclaim this week as South Yuba River Citizen League's 28th annual Yuba River cleanup in Nevada County. So I'll hand it over to Daniel for his presentation.
Good morning, Chair, Supervisors, and members of the community. My name is Daniel Elkin, and I'm honored to serve as the Communications and Engagement Director for the South Yuba River Citizens League. Today, I'm here to speak about one of Nevada County's most cherished traditions, CIRCLE's annual river cleanup, which will take place this year on Saturday, September 20th, 2025. For more than 2 decades, this event has brought together thousands of Nevada County residents to roll up their sleeves, pick up trash, and care for the river that we love. The cleanup is more than an act of service. It is a celebration of community. It's neighbors, families, businesses, agencies, organizations, and schools coming together with one common purpose: to protect the Yuba River. Over the past years, thousands of volunteers have removed over 135 tons of waste from the watershed. This year, we are placing a special emphasis on removing micro trash from the river. Those small but insidious fragments of plastic, glass, styrofoam, cigarette butts, they all break down and persist in the ecosystem. Microtrash doesn't just mar the beauty of the river corridor, it infiltrates our soils, is ingested by fish and wildlife, and ultimately threatens the health of the entire watershed. By removing it, we are protecting not only today's river users, but also the generations who will inherit the place after us. CIRCLE's cleanup, however, is just one piece of a broader effort. Year after year, we have learned that while a single day of action is powerful, lasting impact requires ongoing presence. That's why CIRCLE's River Ambassador program is so vital. CIRCLE would like to thank the county for their continued support of our River Ambassador program. These dedicated volunteers spend their weekends at the river throughout the summer, greeting visitors, providing safety and stewardship information, and modeling what it means to recreate responsibly. Ambassadors turn outreach into relationships, and their work has dramatically reduced trash, fire danger, and unsafe behaviors at our most heavily used river crossings. This season, for example, on the weekends from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. from Memorial Day to Labor Day at Bridgeport and the Highway 49 crossings, CIRCLE River Ambassadors counted 36,407 visitors. They interacted with 8,827 of them. Of those 8,827, Nearly 90% were from out of town. None of these efforts happen in isolation. Through the Yuba River Safety Cohort, Circle collaborates with Nevada County, along with federal, state, local, and community stakeholders to ensure that our messaging about safety and stewardship is consistent, clear, and far-reaching. Whether you're a local visiting the river, or you're from Sacramento or the Bay Area, you hear the same reminders: pack it in, pack it out, no glass, no fires, swim safely, respect the place, and respect each other. This alignment has begun to save lives, reduce accidents, and create a unified culture of respect for the Yuba. Supervisors, the Yuba River is more than a beloved swimming hole or a scenic trail. It is the lifeblood of our community, an ecological treasure, a cultural landmark, and an economic engine for recreation and tourism. Protecting it is not optional. It is a responsibility we all share. Circle's annual cleanup, our River Ambassador program, our restoration projects throughout the watershed, and our participation in the Yuba River Safety Cohort together form a circle of care. Restoring the watershed, educating visitors, ensuring the safety of everyone who comes to the river. With your continued support and with the energy of our community, we can meet this year's challenge of tackling microtrash while continuing to build the bonds that make Nevada County so resilient. On Saturday, September 20th, I invite you and everybody in this room to join us. Bring gloves and a bucket. Bring your family. Bring your commitment to this place. Together, we can keep the Yuba River clean, safe, and thriving for all who depend on it. And afterwards, be sure to join us for our volunteer appreciation party featuring barbecue, games, music, and fun. This year, the party will be at Condon Park in Grass Valley, not Pioneer Park. We hope to see you there. Thank you for your recognition and support.
Thank you for that eloquent pitch for the Yuba River and its many, many functions and uses, and for the cleanup. Any questions or comments from my board?
No, I say this every year, but one, a huge thank you. I mean, the work that you guys do and how you organize is incredible. It's sad we have to do it. I think that's probably the thing that brings this to my attention every year, is that you come, they love it to death, right? And so I just want to thank you again, because organizing your team, the people from the community, we picked up a bag. I took my friends hiking the other day, and we picked up a bag. We took it on our way back, and they live in England and actually come here, and they were shocked that we picked up a bag of garbage on our way down the trail. So I just want to say, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for loving the Yuba, and to all the volunteers that are going to come out and help. And I don't know, it looks like it's going to be a cool, beautiful day for it. And so that'll be nice, and maybe not a storm. We'll take that if we get it. But with all that, just thanks. And Shabati and I, all of you, as part of the team of the cohort, I love the work that we're doing, keeping people safe and finding direction, and just encourage them to pack it in, pack it out. Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks for your effort. I'm going to complain for a moment. I went to the river. I go to the river once a year, maybe twice a year, I don't know. I went once, and I went from Bridgeport upstream, because I was in the neighborhood after a bike ride, and there was so much trash, and I became so disgusted that I didn't have a trash bag, but I took my shirt off, turned it inside out, and filled it with trash. And I was really appalled. And I guess I've already known that, I mean, obviously this functions as the cleanup of the river, but like where, and I know the South Yuba cohort has lots of answers here, but where are the state parks partners in enforcing the rules and the restrictions and the punishment and the adjudication of people who do things like that? Like what can we do as a board? We can help you with this, which is a gesture of support. That's about it. Like, how do we hold people with the word state parks in their name accountable? How does that work? And I don't know. I don't have, it's a rhetorical, I mean, I don't know. It's a question that we need to ask ourselves, but I was so mad because it is what we call home, but it's pretty much, I mean, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
I mean, I can't speak for state parks
Yeah.
at all. I know that they are underfunded and understaffed. And
Yeah.
so,
And maybe, I mean, I guess one question comes up is maybe it should be restricted, right? So if they can't fund it and staff it, maybe we don't let everybody use it and throw trash in it.
again, I can't speak to that
Yeah,
either.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I
but
know,
I'm just
right?
talking.
I mean, I certainly have
Yeah, it
thoughts
was-
about it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's State Parks Authority and Bureau of Land Management
Yeah.
Authority too.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just, thank you. I'll say, I mean, I think we have lots of concerns about underfunding of government and all the things we're trying to do. I was out in the parking lot. I was going somewhere else about a month ago. I was in the parking lot, and it was early in the morning, and there were two parks folks out there. I took a picture and posted it on social because they were so jovial and helpful, and they were out there picking up trash, and so I think they're doing what they can, but there certainly isn't enough resources that we're putting towards this lifeblood of this community. And I know that the cohort, I'm also so grateful for the cohort and the ongoing participation we have by state parks as well as BLM and all the other agencies that are responsible. So I do feel like as a county, we're doing about everything we can by convening folks and trying to support all the efforts, and we funded things. But no doubt we could not protect this river without Circle. The health and strength of that organization is critical to this community, to keeping the river clean, to keeping our economy going because of all the people who come and use the river and then stay and spend money in our community, and to help the locals who love it and want to keep it clean and do their part. So, yeah, I just want to thank you so much for everything that Circle is doing. I'm going to open it up to public comment at this point. And do we have any callers?
Yes, Chair, we have one caller.
Okay, let's bring him in.
Can we bring the caller in, please?
You're getting more defeated as you welcome me in, Heidi. I'm sorry to hear that. I'd like to piggyback on what Hardy said. And last time I went to the river, it was really sad. I was like, oh, really excited. I'll go to 49. I'll take my dog, and got my dog out of the car, leash, and we're going to go head upriver. And I made it to the little triangle before the trail even starts to go upstream. I put my dog back in the car. I got my 5-gallon bucket out of the truck with my grabbers. I filled the 5-gallon bucket half full of dried dog poop. And then I left. And that was my last river experience. And when I drive by and I see the chaos that's going on, and I hear the emergency vehicles not being able to access emergencies due to parking, when I hear people that are being admonished for parking poorly fight back with the police about it, because, hey, they're right. Why? Because they're 90% not from here, and they don't care. They don't care if they start fires. If you look at the videos that people are putting online of what's going on down at Erden and bonfires in the middle of the parking lot and stuff, it is just freaking crazy what's going on in our river. And that's why the locals can't use it anymore. It is frightening. There's just, too much. I mean, I picked up locally here in Grass Valley a whole bag of trash yesterday. I called the city to pick up a whole bunch of trash that's on the creek right now. And a lot of the stuff just gets passed by again and again and again until it gets scattered and broken into these microplastics and micro things that we're talking about, because they're not being picked up. Even by the people that we're paying to pick it up, they're not picking it up. So a lot of places around the world have a gate you go through, and they have a tender, and they limit what you can take, glass and different things. And if you can't take it, then you don't get to go. I mean, Auburn Recreation Area, they make a lot of money off their parking. We really need to get this together, because it's just going to burn, and when it's gone, and it'll never be the same, and people will still enjoy the river, but it'll just be a big mess. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Any other final public comments? Okay, closing public comment?
May I make
Sure,
a comment?
Shivani,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I just wanted to echo what you said earlier, Chair Hall, as far as what the county can do. We are convening the cohort, which has great attendance from all the agencies involved, including the state parks. And this year, we've actually created work groups to work on specific items like infrastructure, safety, parking, as well as amenities, so that we can identify some key projects that we can make, have shovel-ready or ready for funding. And so our work is ongoing behind the scenes. It's not definitely a lot of involvement with it from everybody. And the state parks, they hired one new staff member, which really brings their Yuba River personnel to two. So.
Thank you. I want to thank you, Shivani, for
Thank you.
the great work you've been doing to shepherd the cohort along. It's been great to have you on board to do that. And obviously, thank you to my colleagues for continuing to support that great effort as well.
Thank you.
So I'm looking for a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we call the roll, please.
District 5,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 1.
Yes. Thank you so much. Let's come down for a photo op, all right?
Carissa, could you please pull up the cleanup screen so we can have that as a background in the picture? Thank you.
All right, for our next item, it brings me great pleasure to bring forward this next item, which is a resolution appointing Trevor, I've never done that before. Let me start over. He is a treasurer. Resolution appointing Trevor Koski as county counsel, approving an employment agreement between the County of Nevada and Trevor Koski, and authorizing the chair of the Board of Supervisors to execute the agreement. Susan, please walk us through this item. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Hall and members of the board. I am Susan Cadera, your interim Human Resources Director, and I'm very pleased to present this item. Our current county counsel, Kit Elliott, announced her retirement.
Just speak into the microphone, thank you, or a little bit louder.
Yes, thank you. Announced her retirement effective December 19th, 2025, this past April. And soon thereafter, your board convened an ad hoc task force to facilitate the process to appoint a new county counsel. And per Nevada County Code Section 2.06.020 and Government Code Sections 27640 and 27641, you have authority to appoint a person to the position of county counsel. Our current Assistant County Counsel, Trevor Koski, expressed an interest in this position early on, and the ad hoc task force asked him in for an assessment interview. And following that assessment, asked the remaining 3 board members to also meet with him and assess his qualifications. And at that time, all the board members also received his current resume. Soon thereafter, the ad hoc task force continued the process, and Trevor was asked to undertake what's called a 360-degree assessment. This is a report that assesses his skills and abilities as a leader, a manager, and a practitioner of the law. And it was completed not only by his superior, who is Kit right now, but his peers, his subordinates, and even members of the public. And this assessment turned into a 30-page report, which was also presented to you for additional information in assessing his qualifications. And after that, your board invited him into a closed session meeting where he was once again interviewed. And following that closed session item, the board reported out directions to staff to create the employment agreement, which you have in your packet. I'll say at this point that the steps that were taken to get to this point mirror the steps that we take in any recruitment process. We give the hiring authorities a resume and application to assess the qualifications of the individual. We put the person through tests and assessments, and finally, the hiring authority always interviews once or twice the candidates before making a selection. So that process was made, and the employment agreement is before you, and it is from December 21st, 2025 for 4 years, ending December 20th, 2029. And I'll just say a quick word about the qualifications that Trevor brings to this position. This position requires a JD, active membership in the State Bar of California, and 6 years, at least, of civil law experience. Trevor graduated from the University of Michigan Law School in 2002, and in 2006, he began his membership in the State Bar of California, and his membership is still active and current. His initial career in the law was in a private firm where he was involved in civil litigation in the transportation and military communities, and the lawsuits that were before him were multi-billion-dollar stakes. After that, he worked for the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, where he wrote opinions and briefs on all the matters that came before that court. He then entered Contra Costa's County Counsel's Office. Following that, the City of San Francisco City Attorney's Office, and he came to us, the County of Nevada, in 2021 as our Assistant County Counsel, which is where he has served for the past 5 years. And altogether, his years of service exceed the qualifications for the position, for they number more than 20. So I believe we are very fortunate to have Trevor in our midst. And with that, I'll answer any questions that you may have.
And Chair Hall, at this time, I'd like to invite Trevor to come sit next to Ms. Cadera. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also want to welcome your family, Trevor, who I believe is all here for you. Thank you for coming down on this important day. All right.
Did I sufficiently embarrass you, Trevor?
Yes.
All right. Trevor, do you want to say anything before we turn it over to the board for questions, comments?
Chair Hall, members of the board, thank you. I think the punchline of all lawyer jokes is that we talk too much and charge too much and overcomplicate simple things, so I will keep this brief. For me, this profession's about a higher calling. It's a duty to the profession, to the legal system, and to our clients. And that requires oftentimes putting our own beliefs and desires and free time to the side. That isn't always easy, and I've had clients where it is particularly difficult. And I consider myself very fortunate to have Nevada County as a client and continue to have Nevada County as a client I wholeheartedly believe in, and one I think everyone in this room and in the community can believe in. I want to thank my family for their love and support. Public service takes time and energy and sacrifice, and I wouldn't be here without them. I'd also acknowledge my colleagues in the county counsel's office. It's a privilege to work with such dedicated, talented, and supportive partners. I'd also like to recognize Kit as she prepares to retire at the end of the year. She's led the county council office with steadfastness and dedication, and I'm grateful for the example she's provided and for the foundation she's built and leaves behind. There's a quiet greatness in leaving a place better than you found it, and she's done that. And finally, I'd like to thank the board for the trust you're hopefully about to place in me. I'm grateful for the chance to serve you, our departments, the community, and the county as a whole. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Trevor. And I'm turning it to the board for questions, comments, or let's start with questions so we can go to public comment, and then we'll come back for comments. So, Sue?
Well, no questions. I think I asked all of my questions over the last few interviews we've done, so I think I'm good with questions.
Okay, great. You've received a proper grilling already, so we won't repeat that here today. So let's open for public comment. And let's see, are there any callers?
Yes, Chair, we do have one caller.
Okay, let's start with that.
Can we bring the caller in, please?
Hi, Julie. This is Matthew Coulter, and I look forward to working with the new county council and hopefully not getting a restraining order and being sued by the county for wanting to sit in a chair, because that is what happened to me previously. I understand it was a very confused, and people that were involved in it are now no longer working for the county under odd circumstances, shall we say. Nick was his name. And the affidavit by Ubinet against me, it was full of lies. So I just want to kind of give a heads up to our new county council that this is gold rush politics still going on, and it can be very violent and rough tumble. So watch out, because a lot of people like to sue the county, and county doesn't seem to have a problem with it. But I look forward to your qualifications for sure. It sounds really good, and look forward to meeting you. Congratulations.
All right, any other callers?
No, Chair.
Okay, any comments in the chambers? All right, we're going to close public comment and bring it back to the board.
If I could jump in?
Oh, Kit, of
Not as
course,
public, but,
please.
I just want to really thank this board for their consideration and bringing this forward. And I want to thank my whole office for coming down in support. And I know they're all very happy with the board's bringing this forward. And so this is very important. We've had a lot of good turnaround in our office, and I feel like we are in a very consistent and strong position at this point. And so I believe Trevor will serve you very well in the coming years.
Thank you. All right, so board members, unless there are any final comments, what I'm looking for is a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. District 5?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
And District 1?
Yes. Fantastic. We're so pleased, Trevor. Welcome. I know you have a couple of months still with Kit, and that will be, that's going to be a tough transition. We've enjoyed working with Kit all this time as well, but so pleased that we're going to have the continuity and excellence that we've come to expect here. So why don't we come down and do a picture with you and your entire family?
Great, thank you so much.
And why don't maybe we stay up? Right, well done. Okay, all back to work. Come on. Thank you so much for coming down. Okay, we are going to go into announcements now, and then we're going to recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene the sanitation district items. And then we're going to go into closed session, and then we're going to come back and close everything out. So let's start with announcements. And who wants to go first? Okay.
Okay, so, kind of been a busy few days since our last meeting. I had a great meeting. I met with the new Forest Supervisor, Chris Futier, and the Deputy Forest Service Supervisor, Amber Waters. So that was really great. We want to continue to have the relationship with the U.S. Forest Service here in Nevada County. We really have been fortunate on the Tahoe, so that was a great meeting. Had a great meeting with the holiday market folks, because we're getting a holiday market in Penn Valley, or hopefully it's going through that process. And so we went to Lake Wildwood. I'd like to thank all the staff that went and helped answer the questions and facilitate that. It was a good meeting. Had an interesting meeting. Again, staff was great. From the clerk recorder's office, I had a constituent that was really struggling with some deed issues. And they came in and really helped me go over all that with them, and that was really appreciated. Had my RCRC call in for the week over what's going on in Sacramento. Nothing really big wild to report except for AT&T kind of got held up, and that's very exciting. So that hasn't moved forward, and we're still gonna have challenges over time, but really excited for that. We had our fire services ad hoc. And I'll let Rob talk about the ribbon cutting, but that was fabulous. What a beautiful day and crowd down in South County. We had our first interviews on our ROV ad hoc. That was great. Yuba River cohort met. Again, trying to really figure out the parking issues and some of the struggles that we just talked about with the cleanup. How do we continue to manage that? My Williamson Act ad hoc, we met yesterday, and RCRC, they've created a new guideline of how we're gonna move forward with recommendations. We had a really good meeting yesterday with our climate collaborative, Western Nevada County Climate Collaborative. Say that fast 3 times. Yeah, I can't tell you the new name, but actually, it's really fun to be in a group of people that are all from different areas and get collaboration. We have made headway of things that we're going to do in a short period of time, I think, very well. So, get the mission and vision, and so we have something to report here probably next month, so that'd be great. Went to the Sierra College Forum. That was really well done. And let's see, and I did that range tour at Placer. Again, thank you to Placer Sheriffs for putting that on for us. That was really well done. And then I just want to welcome Lisa Lane to our group. So Lisa's our new analyst too. And so we're really happy to have her in our office. So it's been a busy week. It's been great.
Thank you, Sue.
So I attended the employee orientation last week. I really enjoyed doing that and listening to where some of our new employees came from and why they choose to work for Nevada County. I think we hired a really good group of new people to be here. We had a couple of ad hoc fire committee meetings in the last few weeks. Hopefully we'll be bringing some resolve forward soon with that. Also attended the Bear River Trail ribbon cutting. It was, what a great amenity for South County. I know you probably feel like you don't get very much down there, kind of isolated, but I really see the community down there using that, especially to access the commercial and, have a safe route between their homes and schools and the commercial buildings. I attended the community forum on immigration and ICE. I thought our district attorney and our deputy that was there did a great job of answering the community's questions. We had an ERC board meeting last week, great presentation from the Sierra Business Council and our own economic development department about what's going on. with economic development and the projects that they're working on together. I got to sit down last week with 3 of our new youth commissioners that live in my district. Yeah. And they're so great. I spent an hour with them. I could have spent 3 hours with them. They all have such fantastic ideas and things that they want to implement in the community. I think they had their first meeting last night. I know that there was elections. One of my kids from District 3 was running. I don't know if he got elected as the chair, but yeah, Graham. Yeah. Did he? Oh, good. Okay. Well, congratulations to Graham for becoming the Youth Commission chair this year. Friday night, I attended the Western Sierra 50th anniversary. It was a lovely celebration out at the North Star House honoring the doctors who basically started that whole organization up in North San Juan and Downeyville. Really fascinating history of bringing community health to very rural. I mean, we consider ourselves rural here in Grass Valley, but it's really rural. Sierra County, the Downeyville, North San Juan, they've really done a fabulous job of providing resources there. And it was a pleasure to see Dr. Kellerman be honored there. He's one of my personal heroes for all the work he's done in Africa, helping people, and here. Yeah. And then I also attended the Placer Range visit a couple of weeks ago. Again, thanks to Placer County and to our sheriff's office for setting that up. I think it made a big difference. I had never been in a shooting range before, so it was pretty interesting to see. It was a lot different. What I know about shooting ranges is what I've seen on television and depicted in the movies. It's a lot different than that, but I think we're going to get a great state-of-the-art new facility here. And that's about it.
Yeah, just keep it short as usual. September seems like it just gets so busy suddenly. I mean, it's always busy, but it really ramps up. So I'm going to highlight 3 things, past, present, future. The past was the ribbon cutting that they spoke of at the Combi Multi-Use Path, and that was just great to see the turnout and how it's already getting used. Every day on the way to work, I pass it and see everybody out there, so that's a great addition down there. And it was neat to see former Supervisor Schofield there, who, considering all the work he put in getting that come to fruition, he was the one that cut the ribbon, so that was good to see. This is not necessarily Nevada County, but I kind of affects South County, perhaps even more than up here. All the traffic on Highway 49 heading to Auburn with the new roundabouts, but I just passed through, was it last night, and the second roundabout is now open. So hopefully all the traffic concerns will start to alleviate as that moves forward. And then the last thing I want to highlight, it's been said a number of times, but I've been getting a lot of input on this RV ordinance, so continue to encourage people to come out tonight and all the following ones. And then specifically, my municipal advisory committee will be meeting Monday the 15th at 6 o'clock at the Higgins Community Center. So, and that will be almost entirely focused on the proposed RV alternative housing ordinance. So I'd encourage everybody to continue to give their input and show up and make their voice heard.
Yeah, all good work. I don't know if anybody's aware, but there was a fatality on 89 North at Hobart Mills, which is in my district, obviously right north of Truckee there. Bicyclist got killed by a motorist not paying attention, went off the edge of the road and hit him. He was a pretty valued member of our community and one of the founders of my school that my family also founded. Anyway, long story short, I convened a meeting with Caltrans and wanted to talk about traffic safety, and they did a safety assessment of 89 North, all the intersections north of the county line. Had a meeting on that and kind of digested some of the information coming forward. So we're working with Caltrans on the safety implementation and our town partners too, so that's good. I gotta say Caltrans was incredibly supportive and responsive, and they brought all their resources to bear on the safety issue, and I was really stoked. So if anybody has challenges in their district, please reach out to the new district representative. He's awesome, yeah, and we have a good relationship with him. We did a full day in front of the screen. It felt much like COVID, but our day one interview of the registrar of voters, clerk candidates. So we're looking forward to narrowing that search down and completing that work. It's been a big project for Supervisor Hook and all the people supporting that and the consultant team, so that went well. I had a meeting on economic development as well with Kimberly Parker, just getting her input on what she's working on and where she hopes to head for Eastern County and particularly the Soda Springs. The Soda Springs area has an outdated general plan, master plan? Area plan, excuse me. They had an area plan. It's kind of outdated. I'm not sure, not a lot of it's happened, but we're going to keep working on it. We met with Community Beyond Violence. They have a new executive director. If you haven't met her, met with her and the district attorney talking about how that organization fills the need in Western County and some potential connection points for Eastern County. And then I was going to talk a little bit about the Truckee Tahoe Homeless Advisory Committee. The name has been changed to Coalition. It's been a huge undertaking, so all the stakeholder partners are working together. Basically, we had our meeting the other day with a bunch of public in the room and talked about looking at site selections for a navigation center. So basically the plan is to provided to the board here that you all adopted and read and worked with is coming to fruition. So the navigation center concept is the selected method of service delivery in Eastern County, which is essentially some supportive beds, some wraparound services, and then some day orientation services. We're looking for a facility near Donner Pass Road or the commercial areas associated with the main corridor of Donner Pass Road from downtown Truckee back toward Deerfield. It's been a tough process, I gotta say. It's been hard. We've had a lot of dialogue, a lot of really good input, a lot of really difficult points to make everybody happy, which is such as the case with homelessness. But I just really wanted to thank Ryan. Ryan's not in the room, but Ryan and Phoebe and Jasmine, our staff, have been incredibly effective in dealing with a lot of balancing forces and a lot of local energy on that topic. So much thanks to them. I can't believe they're how good they are at putting that together, but we're not across the finish line. We're going to keep working on it. But I will try and get with staff and the chair to see if we can bring an update back to you to give you some insight on what we're trying to do up there.
Okay, Ellison, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. A few updates. Just echoing the thoughts on the trail, it was really heartwarming to hear school administrators and teachers come out and talk about how that trail is going to make it a safer access for kids. And then hearing parents saying firsthand that they now allow their kids to go and walk to the market and walk to the course. So really appreciate Public Works and everyone involved in making that happen. I really do think it's a game changer in South County. Attended the community forum, as many of the supervisors did. Really appreciate the remarks from the Sheriff's Office as well as our district attorney. It was a great community discussion. I also want to recognize Assistant CEO Patrick Eidman and Doug Johnson with County Council. We have a team approach for the special election coming up. We're meeting regularly, talking about how we could provide additional staff resources and support for the special election in November. I have great confidence in our elections office that it will be a seamless election. So proud of the effort and the work being done, considering it's such an ambitious timeline. The Youth Commission, they are in full gear, so they'll be coming back to you and let you know the policy topics that they have selected for that coming year. I also have 2 youth commissioners that are coming with me on Saturday to present with Sierra Memorial Hospital on their recruitment for doctors to come and have residency in our community. So as youth commissioners, they're going to talk about what it's like to grow up in Nevada County and why this is an amazing place to live and work. 3 announcements for the public Dog Bar Road Bridge project. There is going to be a closure. We recognize the impact it's going to have in the community. It's going to be on September 23rd, which is a Tuesday, from 4 a.m. to noon. So staff did the best that they could to mitigate the impact of the closure of that bridge, but that will be happening, and we'll be continue to push information out to the public so people can plan their commute accordingly. As mentioned before, we do have public feedback on the alternative RV housing ordinance, and that's going to go until September 22nd. So we encourage public to send in their comments to the board. We also, the public workshop is tonight, and that is from 6 to 8, September 9th, Grass Valley Vets Building. So it's another opportunity for members of the public to learn more about the ordinance as well as provide comment. So thank you, Chair.
Yeah, because I just left that out, because the Youth Commission thing is just so awesome. I just want to say, so I did meet with my 4 youth commissioners, Riley and Nicole and Ella and Luca, and it just is, it's so refreshing. These kids are also active. So I went to the Ag Boosters Youth fundraiser, and Riley is on she's on the FFA staff board, and actually I don't remember which, but they spoke, and it was so impressive. And then I met her for breakfast. I met the kids. I took them to breakfast to get to know them. And I tell you what, they have some great ideas, so I'm excited to see what comes down from that. And then I know I'm just going to get a plug. Pin Valley Foundation is having their fundraiser, so there's still some tickets available. It's called Black Hats and Silver Spurs on September 20th. And I'd love to see you all come to Pin Valley. I think it's going to be a really fun event, especially if you like Robbie James is going to be playing there, and we're having hanger steak served with mushroom sauce, and if you don't like meat, you can have a portobello mushroom that's going to be stuffed. So come on down to Pin Valley and practice some line dancing.
Okay, great. I'll finish up our announcements. So we did actually not on this last one, the Air Quality Management District has some challenges that we're helping them work through right now, so I've been involved with that. Our housing ad hoc did meet. There's substantive work happening there, lots of possibilities, projects. One of them is the RV. We did a nice walkthrough of where the RV ordinance is right now, and I was going to echo the workshop tonight. Please, at the 9th, come down and share your comments and put September 22nd on your calendar as the close for those comments. The more input we get on this, the better. We want this to work for a whole cross-section of people in the community. I did participate in putting together some videos for the United Against Hate Week that's coming up in October. So hopefully we'll have a nice rollout of that and be, all the elected officials and will be united on getting that message out. I've had some constituent meetings on this corridor here, right in front of the Root Center, and making sure it stays beautiful and we pay attention to it. And thanks to Trish and her staff for the work they're doing on that. Yes, we all did the range visit. That was very, very helpful. So again, appreciate the Sheriff's Office arranging that. And then I did have a NACO Justice and Public Safety Committee call. Those are so robust. So I've been trying to share with my colleagues some of the information coming out of there, and some of that is on their NACO website. Just a super brief update, what we learned, the VOCA funding update. So the VOCA funding that helps support our victims of crime that I know our district attorney is always concerned about. They have finding some financing to ensure stable congressionally allocated funding through the Crime Victims Fund. This is a bill that's been introduced in both the House and Senate, so hopefully we'll see that pass. I'm not going to go through all of this, just a couple of highlights. Again, the House Transportation Infrastructure Committee passed the Fixing Emergency Management for America Act, FEMA Act. This is the work that I've done on this bipartisan committee to try to streamline FEMA and now to protect its existence. So this bill that's come out has incorporated a large number of the recommendations of this bipartisan committee. And so that has now passed the first subcommittee, which is really positive on a bipartisan vote. So we'll keep a watch on that. That just could make a huge difference for our ability to continue to use FEMA funds to make them much quicker and faster to use. A federal judge has temporarily halted the FEMA BRIC program termination, which has also been critical for us to do some of our work. So that $750 million has not been released again, but it's at least they've halted their clawback of that. And then just a note that the fiscal year 2026 appropriations funding process is coming up. The 2022 funding expires on September 30th, and none of the 12 annual appropriations bills needed to fund the government beyond that date have been enacted. So we'll want to pay close attention to whether there's going to be a government shutdown or not. But just want to just recommend again that my colleagues, feel free to look at that NACO website. They have lots of good information, and this committee has been really active and effective, and so appreciate that the board allowing me to be part of that. Any other final comments from announcements? Okay, thank you. So what we're going to do now is recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Nevada County Sanitation District Number 1 Board of Directors. We have an item on the consent calendar. It's item 22. The items, again, expected to be routine and non-controversial. Are there any public comment on the consent calendar of the sanitation district? Do we have any callers on that?
We have no callers, Chair.
Okay, great. The closing public comment. Any board members looking for a motion to approve the consent calendar, and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Thank you. District 5?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4? Yes. District 3?
Yes.
And District 1?
Yes, thank you. And then we also have general public comment for the Nevada County Sanitation District Number 1. So any public comment in general on the sanitation district, and any callers?
No callers, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Closing public comment on that item. Okay, so now we're going to, without closing out of the sanitation district agenda, we're going to go into closed session to deal with a sanitation district item and a Board of Supervisors item. Then we'll come back out and close ourselves out of that. So Kit, could you please read us into session?
Yes, as stated by the chair, we have two matters in closed session. One, the Board of Directors of the Sanitation District will be considering, and that is as stated in the agenda, and that is Logan Derrick versus County of Nevada. And then the other matter that we will then take up as the Board of Supervisors will be the matter of James Grill versus the County of Nevada, again, as stated in the agenda.
Thank you. And any public comment on any of those items? Any callers?
No callers, Chair.
Thank you. Closing public comment. All right, we're going to close session. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we are, Kit, can you report out from our closed session, please?
Yes, regarding the sanitation district matter, direction was given to staff. And regarding the Board of Supervisors matter, information was provided to the board.
Great, and so we're going to adjourn as a Nevada County Sanitation Board, Board of Directors, and we're also going to adjourn